Hey guys! I'm not sure if anybody's actually watching right now. I hope so. I am going to be starting very soon. I hope that you can actually hear me. If you can, please do say that you do. Right, as you can see, I have actually put the camera on my face as well, which is, I don't know if that's a good choice, but anyway, let's get started. So as you can see here, I've got my mermaid for the day, and she's the lake mermaid, and her colors are green and blue. Hey Rob, how are you? I hope that you can hear me. I don't know if you can check the audio for me. I'm not sure whether I'm actually live in terms of audio. So if you could let me know, that would be great. Also because I'm also playing some music, so I'm not sure whether the music and the audio are sort of... Oh, I'm glad the green is your favorite color. I am... Well, I think she's gonna have green hair basically, but I really like the idea of having the aquamarine dress and also the greenish colors on the fish. So, hi Riz, nice of you to be here. So yet again, I'm just I know it might sound like I'm just asking this for the fourth time, but can you guys actually hear me? I hope so. And if the music is too loud, I will turn it down. And yeah, so I'm just gonna get started. So I've already got the sketch for this mermaid. I'm just skipping this song because I don't like it. Okay. I can hear you, it's a bit quiet, but I can still hear you. Okay, music is extremely quiet. That's good. I wanted the music to be extremely quiet, actually. I'm just gonna, keep it very quiet. Unfortunately, I don't think I can... the mic is as loud as that, so... I can put it closer to me, put it here, even though it looks a bit odd near the iPad, but I can do that, and hopefully that means that you can also see, you can also hear me better. Okay, so as I was saying, I really like the fish that I got here in my references, and I also really like this dress, and I like her hair, so hopefully these things can be all put together. But to start with, I'm gonna start with just doing a full silhouette of the mermaid in question, so that I can then just use the silhouette to do all the rest of the colors afterwards. So I'm just gonna quickly get the lasso tool and do a full silhouette on this lady. So I hope you guys had a nice day so far, whether it's morning or afternoon to you. For me, it's evening, and it's a bit quite a heavy evening. I've had a full day where... Okay, That's great. Thanks, Rob. I'm glad that you can hear me okay and you can still see the tablet, so that's all good. So today I've had a barbecue, even though I'm vegetarian, so my barbecue was mostly just grilled veggies. But it was an interesting day because I was drinking a lot of beer and then a lot of wine. So I am slightly tipsy right now, even though I have also eaten a lot and a lot of bread. So I'm in that situation where I'm kind of tipsy, but also not, because I've just eaten so much that my body is like grounded for like despite all the booze, basically. I may still say something really stupid on this live, so I apologize in advance if that happens, and just don't hold it against me, basically. And as you can see here, basically what I'm doing, even though it looks like I'm not doing anything, is that I am quickly just creating a silhouette for the whole image, so that then I can use that silhouette to basically just not have to worry about drawing within the lines. So I'm just gonna go fill it, and there you go. Now I have a filled in silhouette. I'm gonna use the Studio Pen brush to just make sure that the silhouette looks okay. I'm just fixing it up, making sure it covers all of the areas where I'm gonna have color in the silhouette. So yeah, so it was a pretty nice day for me. Grilled veggies are awesome. Yes, they are. They were pretty good as well. I had some grilled courgettes, which I think I never really understood whether that's a difference in American English and British English. Like courgettes, I think, was what I was told in school that courgettes were called. But then I also heard people calling this veggie zucchini, which is actually sounds like a bastardization of the Italian word for the veggie, which is zucchine. So now I'm not sure whether that's just a different way of saying it, or if it depends on the English that you're speaking, whether it's American English or British English. So I'm not sure. But I had some of those. And also I had some aubergines, which I think in American English is called eggplants. Which is so weird, like the idea that eggs would have plants. That obviously doesn't happen. Eggs do not make plants. But it's called eggplant, so there you go. In Italian, that's called melanzana. So not only I'm drawing, but I'm also giving you basic Italian lessons. If that's something English speaking people bastardizing other languages sounds about right. Yeah, I mean, we all do it, like every language does it, I think. Especially also, if you see that like from time to time I am looking like to my right, it's because I have a second screen where my Cintiq is, and I have the chat for this live on my second screen. So sometimes I'm just like turning around and reading what you guys are writing. And don't be shy, do write in the chat. I appreciate your attempts to make a conversation with me whilst I'm drawing. Even though it may sound a little bit awkward at first. It will get better, I promise. But yeah, so apart from zucchini or, courgettes or whatever, and eggplants, I ate some cheese, which is bad for me because I'm lactose intolerant, but I don't care because I like cheese. So I'm just gonna get my lactose intolerant pills and get on with it. Because, once in a while I just want to eat some cheese because cheese is so good. And then, well, yeah, that was about it. And I had a veggie burger as well, so I ate a lot of food, to be fair. And I hope that you guys also had a nice evening or day so far. I'm actually really enjoying MerMay this time, like this year, because I'm just like giving myself zero pressure about it. Like literally, I am like not really bothering with it, which is a great thing, because for me, the other years I always tried and make like 31 prompts, which is a lot. And I always ended up being really rugged and stressed out about all the prompts that I had to make like every day. And instead this year I'm just making 4, so I'm actually just really chilled about it. And yeah, but if you want to ask me stuff about Mermaid, just please go ahead in the chat. I am happy to answer about things. And or you know, whether you're also doing MerMay. I don't know, is MerMay still a thing? I feel like a lot of people are still doing it, but maybe the hype that was around MerMay has sort of disappeared a little bit in comparison to, you know, the first years where it was like such a huge deal. I'm not sure. Like for me, because it's the 4th mermaid that I do in my life, I feel like I'm definitely still, you know, I slept a lot because I spent all night live streaming, first on my own channel doing the Trolloc drop and IEL games, and then hopping on the Dusty Wheel. What has been your favorite mermaid so far? So first I wanted to say that it's pretty amazing that Rob manages to live stream so much, especially when he does it on like US standard time when he lives in the UK, and that's just he's a fucking legend, really. Aside from that, what's been my favorite mermaid so far? I don't know, I've only drawn 2. Like this is the second one that I'm drawing, so I think this one is actually my favorite, just because I like the fact that she's a little bit more curvy than the other one that I've drawn, but I'm not sure. I need to you know, go a little bit further into Mermaid to really, you know, get an opinion about the mermaids that I've drawn so far. This is just my second one, so I don't really have an opinion so far, but I do have an opinion regarding the live stream that you were on, Rob. And I mean, I haven't actually watched the Dusty Wheel live stream that you were on, because again, today I was all day at this barbecue, so I haven't had the time yet. So I'm gonna watch it like after I finish drawing here, basically. Oh, I meant including other years. Okay. Yeah, okay, so I meant including other years, I think, well, I don't think I can say like my first was my favorite, because my first was literally so bad. I think it's like your first with sex, like it's always gonna be bad, isn't it, because you're just not good at it. So that's kind of like Mermaid as well. Like my first Mermaid was like, I was so bad at drawing that, you know, as much as I enjoyed putting myself out there and like having a new experience, I was probably just not quite experienced enough to really appreciate it, if you know what I mean. But I think actually last year was probably like one of my favorites, because I did this project where I asked my followers to send me their pictures and I would turn them into mermaids and mermen. Merman sounds like a bit like Mormon, but like mermen, like men who are also mermaids, mermen. And actually that was a really good project. I really enjoyed it because I had, you know, the support and inclusion of my following, and I liked it as a project, the idea of having all these mermaids being just everyday people with everyday fashion. It's like the concept was basically having like a lookbook of street style, but mermaids. So that was pretty interesting and nice. And you can see that somewhere, like on my website or something. You can definitely see it on my website. If you go to my channel, like there's a link or something. But yeah, that was definitely one of my favorite mermaids. And yeah, that was a good year. Even though, I mean, last year was kind of crap because obviously it was, 2020. But in terms of MerMay, it was pretty good. So here I am just deleting some of the parts in the hair where I want to create some more movement. Like here, for example. And I think this is one of those things that gives hair like an interesting texture. There you go. And also it's difficult because with this mermaid, like she's got curly hair, and I think curly hair is one of the... Hi Tiny Leaf Press. It's nice to see you here. So yeah, I've got my basic shape for the color layer of this mermaid drawn. And now I'm gonna pixel lock it, which means that it's gonna like stay locked and I can't draw or color anywhere else, around it. And then I'm gonna create a new layer and make a clipping mask, which means that now I can just use a different color and, color anywhere, and it's gonna color wherever there's already pixels, but where there's no pixels, it's not gonna color. So it's pretty handy. Then just clear because we don't need that. So, now for the palette. I'm just gonna like block in some colors and see if they work out, and if they don't, whatever. I'm just gonna try something different. So this green, I feel like it's maybe a little bit too intense. So instead of like, I'm just gonna color pick it, but then also change it a little bit, like to a more subtle sort of green. And let's go. So I'm just gonna quickly block it in on a different layer, and then maybe, I'm gonna see if it works out with the tail and everything else. And also I have to keep in mind that this is my second mermaid, and that I have the first mermaid to use as reference in terms of the style that I'm using, which is quite important because all of the mermaids are gonna be included in the same artwork at the end. So if you do something that is kind of like a little bit of a bigger piece, and you then start using styles or like rendering styles or coloring styles that clash with each other, or they're not just as consistent with each other, then you're gonna end up having something that looks a little weird. So you have to always remind yourself that if you're working on a bigger piece, they all need to look consistent with each other. And I'm sorry, I was just checking my phone because my watch is connected to my phone, so whenever I get a notification I get it on my watch as well, and that means that I get distracted a little bit. I feel like all these like notifications and smartwatches connected to phones and all of that are really destroying my concentration and my ability to focus, which was already pretty bad to start with. So right. Okay, so I'm not necessarily gonna use this same color for the hair. I'm just like blocking it in and see if it works, and let's see. Also for the dress, I like this dress over here. As you can see, I'm just gonna bring it up so that you guys can see it as well. Like, I really like this kind of dress, which I put in my references. I like the corset and how it's all like little flecks of color, and I want to render that same kind of dress feeling into the actual body of the mermaid, as if like the body of the mermaid is made up of scales, and then like that's the dress, if you know what I mean. Also, I've just read that Rob has shared the stream to a few places so people can join in live. Thank you, Rob, you're very nice and very kind, and I feel like you know, thank you, that's very nice of you. But yeah, and that's all because earlier on I said that I find YouTube to be quite not scary, but a little bit intimidating, I guess. I think it's because it's, you know, it's a different format and platform from where I'm used to, you know, come from, kind of thing. I am, you know, in the past 4 years I've basically been on Instagram all the time, and that's not to say that, you know, Instagram is better or worse than YouTube. I feel like they both have their strengths and, you know, weaknesses, but they are different in terms of type of, you know, platform. So of course I'm gonna be a little bit trepidatious when it comes to something new, like most people are. So yeah, so I just want to replicate this kind of color that I get from this fish. So I'm just gonna, right, there you go. And I can actually choose an airbrush that is a little bit bigger, like this one with the big airbrush. And that's why, you know, that's why I did the whole outline beforehand and the masking of the silhouette beforehand, so that then I can just go in and very quickly color in within the shape. And this is what I meant. Nope. Okay. And this is what I meant when I said I want to have the dress sort of like coming out of the skin of the mermaid. Like you can see here, I am basically trying to draw in the dress like being completely like stuck on the body of the mermaid. I don't know if that makes sense. If I don't make sense, like, just tell me. Like, I'm barely making sense to myself, to be honest. And like here, I want the dress to come out to, of course, cover up her boobs, because otherwise Instagram and YouTube will probably censor me, because, you know, you're not allowed to draw female nipples online, because only men have nipples apparently. Even though they definitely, you know, they're not just the only ones who do have them, but whatever. Female nipples are more dangerous. Okay. Thank you. I'm glad it makes sense. So yeah, I had like some topics prepared, like in my head before doing this live, but now I've just completely forgotten them. So if you guys want to give me a topic to talk about, I would love that, so that I can actually just talk about something, basically. I don't know why. I always feel like during the live streams that I have to talk about stuff, because otherwise it would be boring for people watching. And I mean, I am literally, you know, you're literally looking at me coloring a dress on top of a mermaid's boobs. So I think that's interesting regardless. I personally am a big fan of boobs, so but you know, I should probably also talk about stuff. And yeah, so what I'm doing here is just that I am blocking in the color for the dress, which is also the tail of this mermaid. Well, tail slash, you know, body dress, bodysuit, whatever, I don't know. It like, mermaids are half fish, so they don't really wear stuff. It's more like it's fur or scales on their actual body. Your drawing is always interesting. Your commentary is hilarious. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad. That's nice to hear. Thanks, Rob. But yeah. Hi, VTYKT. I'm sorry. Maybe I actually know you, but I don't know the handle, so sometimes it looks like I don't know you, but maybe I do. Maybe you're even on my Patreon, but the handle that you have on YouTube might be something that I don't recognize, so in that case I do apologize for seeming like I don't know you, even if I do know you. I tend to overthink things quite a lot, so sorry about that. Right, okay, so here we have the blocking for the tail and the hair, and I feel like they are too similar right now. There's not enough contrast, even though I mean, hi Eliza, nice to see you here. So I'm just gonna take this wig just quickly. Right, so I feel like there's too much similarity in this drawing for now, and therefore I'm just gonna add some more color variance, because this is the lake guardian, so it makes sense that she would be mostly green, aquamarine, bluish, but also I don't want her to be like all the same color, so I'm just gonna have to, you know, make sure that she doesn't look all the same color. I kind of like the idea of having part of the tail being more like lime green yellow, like this fish here basically. So let's see if I can make that happen. Oh, okay, Kata, that's nice. Yeah, I mean, I knew that like you were for somewhere, and I think, yeah, sorry if I didn't recognize your handle. Right, so as I was saying before, I need to make sure that I also keep consistent with the mermaid that I drew last week. So that's why I've got it here. And, you know, this is the way that I drew the tail last week, with this kind of texture in her tail. So I need to, you know, keep that in mind to make sure that everything looks consistent by the end of this process. Awesome, thanks. So yeah, so first let's block in a different color for the hair. And the way I do it usually is that, because I quite like the color for the tail, so I'm just gonna use the saturation and just change the hue slightly, like a little bit more bluish, like this. And then I'm gonna use, which is also similar to the dress and to the fish, and then I'm gonna use the saturation again and change the hair color. I don't know, what do you guys think? Is it better with like more green? Or maybe more blue? Or purple? Or reddish pink? I don't know. I don't don't know, maybe I feel like the original lime green was actually better. You like the purple? But like bluish purple? I don't know. I need to check why my music stopped. The purple too, or the pink? More red. I do quite like the purple as well. Like this maybe? Oh, Rob, don't put yourself down. You're not just a cheerleader. You're a vital part of our Patreon. Which, also to be fair, is the meaning of being a cheerleader. But, you know, like, you have artistic instincts too. I kind of like these, like, reddish but more like orangey color, even though it's kind of similar to the reddish of the other mermaid. But then lakes and rivers are kind of similar as well. So also I'm sorry if I'm like gesturing so much and that might be confusing. I hope that the yeah, coral. I mean, if I add, you know, some more. Right, I'm just gonna keep it like this for now. Let's see. Let's see if it makes sense. And also I'm gonna add the flower to her hair with a different color. Oh, thank you, MK. Nice. Thank you, Tiny Leaf Press as well. I'm really partial to coral orangey with like bluish aquamarine colors. It's like my favorite combination of colors. Mostly because my favorite colors in general are pink, but like old fashioned pink, you know what I mean? Like that sort of pink that is kind of a little bit desaturated, and teal. So those are my two favorite colors in general. Right. I'm just quickly gonna finish up her face. So yesterday I was planting like my little herbs, and I planted some tomatoes as well and some lavender, so that was nice. Although I don't know how much of it will actually come out, you know, by the end of spring. I hope like a lot, but of course that's just, you know, it depends a lot on the weather as well, not just me. I don't know if you guys are planting people, as in people who enjoy planting stuff and having plants in general. I used to be pretty bad at plants in general, like I would make them die quite often. I don't like this song. I'm just gonna move it forward. Ooh, thyme. Brought it to my mouth and I forgot it. Well, is it still alive? Like, does your mom take care of your thyme? Okay, I hope so. Because I used to be really bad with plants. Like, I would literally make them die so fast. And I even manage... Oh, well, then, you know, if your mom is taking care of it, I'm sure that your time will be fine. Well, Rob, we all know that you're the aloe whisperer. And you can make, you know, you can make aloe grows in the desert. Your mom lives in a forest. Oh, 10-leaf press. I want so badly to be a gardener, but I do not have the best track record keeping plants alive. Yeah, I feel you, 10-leaf. I feel you. That's basically me. But I am trying to be better, and I am just trying, you know, to keep them alive for more than a few months. And to be fair, this year has been better. I feel like the more I get older, the more I get, you know, more responsible for plants. I feel like she needs to have even darker lips, maybe. Ooh, I'm fighting the drought to make my grass grow. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, like here in Italy, it's been quite rainy. So I am sorry if you're in the middle of a drought. That's not fun. I mean, in southern Italy, there's often droughts, but in northern Italy, we get a lot of rivers and mountain glaciers and stuff like that. So we do have quite a lot of water. Right. I do like this combination of pale pink, coral-ish color, and the teal kind of tail. I do like her. Also, she's so curvy. I really enjoy her curves. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna stop, like, you know, fangirling over my own mermaid, I swear. You got a plant called lipstick, Rob. What kind of plant is it? You should post a picture in the greenhouse channel on our Patreon. What did I want? Oh yeah, I wanted to touch-ups. So here I'm using the noise brush in the touch-up section, which is what I use. Sorry, I realized that I made some noise over there. So yeah, the touch-up brush is what I use to give the character a nice little blush here. Oh, Venus flytrap, nice. I actually wanted to get one of those, the fly traps, but I admit that I am scared. I know it will sound ridiculous because it's like, why are you scared of a plant? But it just sounds like fly traps and stuff like that, like the kind of carnivorous plants. They just fucking scare me. I'm such a wuss. I'm sorry. Yeah, the plant from the little shops of horrors. Yeah. The weather is stupid, dry and cold. I can't water it during the day because I don't have the time, and in the evening there is the risk it will freeze at night. Yeah, actually, that's actually a real risk. Because my partner, like, he's a gardener by trade, and he told me many times that I shouldn't water the plants in winter if they're staying on the balcony, because they tend to freeze in the night, which I didn't know. So, you know, always good to know that you shouldn't water a plant if it's freezing out, because it will also freeze the soil. That's no fun for the plant. I've gotten a coffee plant recently and I love it. It's so easy to take care of and it looks amazing. Wow, I want a coffee plant too now. I'm gonna Google it and look it up after I finish drawing this. Like a plant that wants to eat me? No thanks. Yeah, MK, you get my point. Yeah, that's exactly my point. It's like, why would I want, like, you know, there's so many things already during the day that could potentially be, you know, dramatic and not end well for me. So why would I want to also, you know, have that sort of risk from a plant? That doesn't make any sense. So here I am now faced with the tail kind of dilemma. Well, it's not really a dilemma, it's just I need to render it in the same way that I rendered the tail in the same way that I rendered the tail in the previous mermaid, which is this one on this side. And to answer Tiny Leaf's Press question, what brush do you use for blush? This is the brush, it's called Noise Brush. It's in the touch-ups section of Procreate. So as you can see here, if I use it on the tail, you know, just to show you guys, it's gonna have this really nice pointy, dotty kind of texture, which I really, really love. And you can just make it a little bigger for areas where, you know, you don't want to be as precise. And I just kind of use it over like the whole tail. Like in this one, as you can see here, I've used it over all, you know, the tail. So that's what I'm gonna do here as well. Also, I want to, you know, keep this fish as, you know, the basic reference for the tail. So I'm just gonna do one more layer for the actual fins. Over here. I once put my finger in the flytrap plant. It isn't dangerous at all. They are fun to observe. Okay, I am glad it isn't dangerous. I mean, I didn't imagine that they would actually, you know, take your fingers off, because of course that's not, you know, they wouldn't really sell them if that was what happened. But still, I have a very stupid dog, so I'm kind of worried that if I had one of those plants, he would just constantly try and interact with it, and that wouldn't be fun for him. I don't know, maybe I'm just being like overprotective. I probably am being overprotective. I have a tendency of, you know, being overprotective with my dog. Just because he's so silly. And he doesn't seem to realize when there's danger. Like, he's literally when... And I don't know if any of your pets do this, but like, he would be incredibly scared. I'm sorry, I was just reading the chat. Tiny Leaf Press says, it makes her skin look so dimensional. I love it, thanks. That's awesome. Don't worry. And yes, it does make her skin look more 3D. Just because you're adding a little bit of refraction, so it doesn't look as flat, you know, as plastic. But yeah, going back to my dog that I was talking about. Basically, my dog, and I don't know if your pets do this as well, he might be like really, really completely scared of something like a chihuahua. Well, it's way smaller than he is. But then he's like completely fine with cars. So it's like, oh my god, it's a chihuahua, and then he just runs away. But if he looks at a car, which could actually kill him, he's just like, yeah, that's fine, it's just a car. I'm just gonna walk right under it and potentially die. So that's why I'm kind of protective, because he doesn't seem to understand what's actually dangerous and what it isn't. So there you go. That's the reason. So as you can see here, I'm just trying to add some more variance to the tail. And also trying to mimic the underbelly of this fish. There you go. I love it when you use like a much lighter color on something and all of a sudden it sort of lights up the whole drawing. It's like turning on a light underneath the tail, basically. Like this. Right, and then on top of all of it, I need to start working on this kind of texture, which means I'm gonna have to get a few different colors on the same color scale as this teal, and then just use the dry ink brush, which is my favorite brush ever, as you probably know already, and just turn the opacity down a little bit and then turn the size up a little bit, and then just use it on top of, you know, of these areas, so that I can create this kind of texture where the dress is, well, which is not a dress, but you know, where the skin of her bodysuit is meeting the skin of her human part, like where the fish skin is meeting her human skin or whatever. So yeah, so I'm just gonna do that, and this is gonna take quite a while actually. This is probably what's gonna take the longest to paint, so you know, sit, you know, get set, and you have to wait for a bit. Also, I'm reading here that Kata says that her dog is the same. She makes me so stressed all the time. And Vic also says, my dog is like that too, scared of another dog and then tries to bite my horse's leg, not realizing one kick could kill her. Yeah, I mean, Vic's dog, please don't bite horses' legs, because they are huge. And it doesn't seem like a very safe idea. I don't know why dogs don't have any like sense of what is like not potentially a death threat. It's like, is it because they're like so used to being among humans and being so used to being, you know, just lovable and loving and just, you know, loving their human companions, that they're like, yeah, everything is good, the world is so nice, I can just go anywhere and my human will protect me. And it's like, yeah, but you really need to put some, you know, some sort of attempt to also protect yourself, because, you know, humans are not always there to protect you. And sometimes humans are actually the ones that, you know, you should be protected from. But I'm not going to go into human on dog like brutality, because that's just not a fun topic to talk about, and that might actually be quite distressing to talk about, so I'm just gonna skip it there. I'm sorry I even brought it up. I don't know why I did. Right, so I'm just like doing this kind of dotting on all the areas where it makes sense, where, you know, again, where her bodysuit is kind of connecting with her skin. And I'm also doing it with the same kind of color of her bodysuit, so that it really looks as though, you know, the scales of her fish parts are sort of embedded into her human parts. And also I need some lighter parts maybe I'm gonna do like a different layer. I keep doing different layers just because you never know what you want to keep, you know, at the end of having made this sort of layer. And, you know, if you don't want to keep the layer and you realize that you've done something that you don't really like, you can just delete the layer. Well, if you have made all these adjustments on the same layer and, you know, you just have to go back individually, action by action, or delete the stuff that you've just drawn, that's just boring, and this is just more convenient. But yeah, regarding dogs and horses, personally, my dog is so scared of horses. Luckily, I mean, that's just one of the few things that he's scared of, and that makes sense for him to be scared of. Like, and I think that's because he's more of a city dog. Yeah, but then my horse is like that too. Stares at a puddle like there will be a shark, and then it's completely fine with a big truck rushing by. Yeah, that's weird. It's like, I think it's because animals are more concerned with like the hierarchy. So for example, one of my best friends has a bigger dog than my dog, but her dog was born later. So when her dog was born and she got her dog, we were already friends, and so my dog started interacting with her dog when her dog was like a puppy and my dog was already an adult. So even though when her dog grew up, he's now much bigger than my dog, he still behaves like he's really scared of my dog. Like, he's kind of submissive regarding my dog, even though it doesn't make any sense because he's like double the size. And I feel like that's just because animals have more of a concept of, maybe like, not really of a concept of their own dimensions, but more of, you know, what they remember, or, you know, how their relationship was forged with other animals when they were younger. So of course that's just gonna be, you know, what you remember from when you were growing up, or stuff like that, basically. Right. I'm quite liking this texture, actually. I hope that you guys can actually see what I'm doing from the camera, because I realize that it's quite far away, and so unless I really zoom in, it's probably like not very clear what I'm doing. I hope it is clear what I'm doing. So I'm gonna add some of the yellow from the fish as well, just on a different layer, just to be sure. As you can see, it's a very boring process and kind of random. Like, you just have to keep dotting away. Just add some dots over here, some dots over here. And it's one of those things, like, I'm not even sure what I'm doing, because this kind of process is something that I haven't really tried before. So it's just kind of like a experiment, not something that is tried and tested. You're still working on the River Mermaid, says Vic, and it's very challenging. I'm sorry, but challenges are good. Like, I always feel like I should be saying something like, oh, like, I'm sorry that you're challenging yourself, but actually that's great. You know, just challenges are so good because they, you know, they make you better, basically. like without challenges you can't really grow. So even though they are uncomfortable, as I'm sure that you know, that's also very good for you. And I'm sure that you'll be able to you know, come out of the challenge feeling like you really gain something, as opposed to when, you know, you do something that you already know that you're reasonably good at, and then you feel like it's that weird situation where if you do something and you feel like, yeah, I'm good at this thing, and you then do it and people say it's good, or, you know, you just look at it and you go like, yeah, that's a good result. The result is still not as good as, you know, as if you did something that you felt like you weren't good at, and then you do it and you feel like you've learned something. Then the result will feel like it's better. So I feel like challenges are good. They help you grow. You choose a complicated composition. Yeah, I'm guilty of that. I usually choose really sillily complicated positions. Like it makes me feel like, why did I want to do that in that, you know, in that particular pose that I cannot do? It's like, why didn't I choose something that is a bit more comfortable? But, you know, as I said, I feel like that's still a pretty good situation where you come out of a difficult situation and you feel like you've really earned it, you know? So I'm still gonna pick up the touch-up and noise brush and just quickly add some noise to this flower. You're drawing, so Kata is drawing her best friend as a mermaid for MerMay because she loves mermaids and would definitely be a mermaid if she could be, so I got inspired and decided to draw her swan. That's lovely. That's a really nice idea. I don't know if I would like to be a mermaid. It's like, honestly, as a, you know, I'm just trying to approach this completely as if that was actually a potential, you know, situation. So if I could magically wake up and just be a magical creature, I don't know if I would like to be a mermaid. Like, what would you guys want to be if you could just magically wake up and be a magical creature? Personally, I don't know. I feel like if we're just talking about traditional magical creatures, like, let's keep it at fairy, werewolf, vampire, mermaid. I don't know what other magical creatures can we include in this. If you have any suggestions, please do write it in the chat. But I think I would like to be So yeah, so here I pixel locked the line art layer over here, and I am just quickly going over the line art and making the line art not black, just giving it a color that is more similar to the color that it's being the line art of. But yeah, if I had to be, if I could be a magical creature, yeah, I mean, Lord of the Rings kind of elves are pretty good. They can live forever. They are pretty powerful. They can use magic. They get, you know, great XP in loads of different areas. Like, they can see really well, hear really well. They're quite agile. So they are pretty good creatures, to be fair. I don't know. I feel like I might want to be a warg, just because I would like the idea of being able to morph or take control of an animal, and not just one animal specifically. They have fabulous hair and they are badass fighters too. Yeah, that's true. But like wargs, as in the wargs in Game of Thrones, I guess. They're like, I like the idea of them being able to, as I was saying, just sort of take control of an animal or, you know, turn into that animal, because you're not constrained to one specific animal like with werewolves, where you just have to, you know, be a kind of wolf, even though you're like more like a monster wolf kind of thing. Instead, if you're a warg, you can just take any animal really. So that's pretty good for me. Like, sounds good for me. Also, Vic's illustration says that a girl is fishing in the middle of a river and the mermaid is pulling herself into her boat. The girl is scared and pulling away. Nailing her expressions and movement is the hard part. Definitely. I can see what you mean. It is definitely difficult. I feel like movement and expressions are just, you know, what's most difficult in general about art. Like, you see so many artists, and especially fan art artists, who do really good depictions of characters, but then they are always in sort of presentation pose. Like, they're not, you know, they're not actually moving or doing anything. They're just sort of there going like, ha. And, you know, I'm not saying that that's easy, because that's also difficult and it takes skills, but to do that and also do it with an action pose or with a pose where you know, where you actually have to show some emotions or feelings, that's definitely more difficult in my opinion. Right, so I'm almost done with the line art. I just need to do it for the tail as well. Aren't warg's original body is really vulnerable while they're controlling another animal? Yes, Kata, I think that is true. And that would definitely be an impediment, I guess. But then not if you're, you know, if you're reasonably safe in your hut or whatever. I imagine that wargs live in like forests, or like, you know, in a hut in the middle of the forest, and then it's like, who's gonna find you there? I mean, they have to get all the way over there, and presumably with the animal that you're controlling, you would be also patrolling the area next to where you're sleeping. So I mean, yeah, there is a chance that someone might still find you and kill you or trap you or whatever. But it's still, you know, I think it's a slim chance. So I'll still take it. Also, I just like the idea of being a warg. Like, I do think that there would be some drawbacks, but I still like the idea of being one. You know what I mean? Righty right. So I am really almost done. I need to do some more rendering to the hair. True that. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, there are also other creatures that would be interesting to be. Like, I would like to also be a creature who has some sort of like special body ability, like flying or whatever. I mean, that's why I like the warg idea, but I could also be, you know, any kind of folklore creature that can fly, or I don't know, climb really high, you know, be really agile. Basically anything that has some sort of like body specialty, that would be interesting, because in real life I'm not really very good at climbing or being, you know, I hop. So That would be quite nice not to, because basically I'm really scared of heights, so that would be nice not to be scared of heights. Ooh, I really like this color for the hair. Feels like she's got like cotton hair. So thank you guys for suggesting me this hair color. It's a really good idea. And I think it works better than the green, just because it makes a little bit more of a contrast, which is kind of like also what you want in drawing. There you go here. I'm just gonna, and the great thing about having a mask is that then you can just delete parts of the mask and the hair color will also come out with it. Right. So I am almost done. I'm starting writing. My dragons can shift between human and dragon form. If I had to choose a creature, I choose that. Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, what kind of dragons are they? Can they, like, because there's so many different dragons in folklore in general. So, like, are they more like wyverns, or are they like traditional, like Chinese dragons? Do they hoard gold, or they're more like modern dragons? What do they do? Please let me know about your dragons. I feel like they could also be a good choice. Right. So I'm really almost done. I just need to include some lighting and shading to this lovely lady. Also, my music stopped, so I'm just gonna quickly restart it. Okay. So I'm gonna create a new layer. Thank you, Rob. That's nice of you to say. And add some lighting to these ladies' hair. Hey Deborah, nice to see you. Oh, thank you. That's nice of you to say. Right, so as you can see here, I'm just adding all these little bits of color to her hair. They look a little bit like just wiggles, but actually they are going to be highlights for her hair. Basic Western dragon, 4 legs, 2 wings, breath fire, but because most of them spend their life in human form, they are more human in nature and way of thinking. Cool. Hey, London Creative. That's nice that you were drawing a mermaid. Well, welcome. You did miss most of it, but I'm still glad that you're here now. Oh shit, I'm sorry that you have to wake up at 5 a.m, Deborah. That sounds like no fun. But I am almost done, so hopefully you can hang out to the end. But if you can't, don't worry, I totally understand, and I will not hold you accountable. But yeah, Vic, your dragon sounds nice. So you're writing this for your own pleasure, or, you know, can you redirect us to your manuscript if you have been posting it anywhere? Just let me know. I'd like to read it. I love how your picture has a bunch of details, but it doesn't look messy. Thank you, Elisa. Yeah, I mean, I feel like regarding the amount of detail that you have on a picture and that feeling of like looking at it a little bit messy, that's when you kind of... So one rule of rendering, and for rendering I mean the amount of detail that you put in a piece and how realistically you draw lighting and shading and, you know, all of that. So if you add the same level of detail to the whole piece, it's probably gonna start looking messy, as you say. So the trick is to add a different amount of detail over the whole drawing. So like in this case, for example, there are some areas of this drawing that are pretty basic, like the skin, for example. Here I've added a little bit of color variance with the blush, but overall it's pretty simple. It's just one color, right? Or, you know, two colors. And then the tail overall is like some areas, like here around the boobs, it's way more detailed. It's way more detailed than, for example, here in the middle or here in the middle. So the idea is that you have areas that are way more rendered and way more detailed than other areas. And that's how you can get an image that still has detail and looks detailed, but it doesn't look messy. Ah, Rob, you embarrass me. You're so nice. It's really nice of you to say that my Patreon, it's a nice place to be. And supportive. You are being supportive on my Patreon. Right. So as you can see here, so, you know, we have all the lighting on our hair. I feel like maybe it can be of a different color, or maybe just in soft light. That's also a good choice. Oh, sorry, I'm yawning. Oh, it's been a long day. Like, I'm gonna do some more lighting with the medium hard hairbrush. So as you can see, with the medium hard airbrush, it gets this sort of kind of soft brush that you can use to give a very gentle kind of lighting to specific areas, but like in a very not very focused way, if you know what I mean. It's like it's not flat shading, it's a little bit more gentle, like here. So it's a bit more like area. Are you going to post this mermaid separately or just all in one post? I have been posting them separately as well. So... But I will also post them all in one post and very likely do a little print run, maybe, if people are interested. They are part of like a bigger piece altogether, so the reason why this looks a little bit weird is because now I'm gonna turn it down, and so as you can see it's just lighting up the mermaid to a certain extent, like this. Maybe 20%, I think it's a good choice. So it's just lighting her up a little bit, but not too much. Oh, it's on Wattpad. I will check it out on your Instagram. Oh, thank you. And yes, Danalu, you are correct. Rob is a great cheerleader. So I'm just gonna add some shading on multiply with the same kind of brush, which is very, very gentle. And it's basically more like an area, shading. Like here as well. So an area shading is more like giving, like, it's not for flash shading, it's more like just giving a feeling of, you know, what areas are more in the shade and what areas like are more 3D. Like here, if I turn the color a little bit darker, I can add some more shading and underneath her boobs to really give the idea that here underneath her boobs is darker, because her boobs are also creating a obstacle for the light to reach. Like here underneath her face and neck. Oh, thank you. It's like watching magic happen. And then I'm gonna turn down the multiply layer so that it's not as dark as before, like probably around 35%. Yeah, 35 sounds good. Right. So I feel like this is almost done. Very soon it will be done. I just want to add a new layer for some more lighting with a more, so some more flat lighting and flat shading. Because I've just noticed that in this mermaid I did make the lighting a little bit more intense than in this one, so I want them to be more similar. Bye Danalu! It was nice to have you here. Thank you for watching. Right, so here as well. So the flat lighting is basically just areas that are very obviously in the light, and so have these highlights, like here in the hair as well. And the highlights need to be a little bit less distributed and like less present than the rest of the lighting, because otherwise, of course, you know, if everything is lit all at the same rate, then you wouldn't notice the highlights. So I'm just gonna put this layer on overlay. Hi Skitterish! How are you? And there you go. Good. I'm glad that you're good. Right, I'm just doing the highlights on this lady here. Like this. And then I'm just gonna add one more layer for an extra layer of shading on multiply. Which is gonna be flat shading. Which is basically all the shading that is like really obvious, because again, an element is sort of blocking out the light, and therefore the element underneath has flat shading. Like the neck, you know, the part of the neck underneath the hair here, the neck here, her hair behind, you know, behind her face, because they are behind this other hair here. I do have a Discord server, Deborah, and it's a Patreon only Discord server. So if you're a Patreon, yeah, Skinter says, well, it sounds like Makia Talks recommends Memo's Patreon Discord. He does. He's very vocal about it. But yeah, so if you want to join my Discord, you have to be a patron of mine, and the tiers start at €5 a month, for which you get extra materials, extra content, you get special tutorials, you know, stuff like that. So if you're interested, just you can go on my YouTube channel profile thing and you'll see it there. Also, Aliza says, can you guys recommend some art communities online which you like? I don't know. Honestly, I don't really know that many online like art communities. Like there are tons on Facebook groups, but personally I try to stay clear of them because they are full of drama. And I don't like drama. Unless it's like drama from a TV series, then I love drama. But otherwise, I don't like people's drama. Oh, okay. You're into the 21 Draw courses. That's nice. I haven't tried all of the other 21 Draw courses. I think there are some really good ones there. I mean, aside from mine, obviously, which it's a matter of taste. But I did like the Ameline Stockart one about lighting, and I meant to take some of the other courses as well. But then I'm constantly thinking, you know, oh, I need to take this course and that course and whatever, because I want to improve my art. But then I always have too much work to do, and I end up not doing it. It's like, I just want to do so many things, and their day, it's only 24 hours. Right. Oh, thank you, Deborah. That's nice of you to say. Right, so I think that I am basically done. I've got my layer of I'm sorry by the way if sometimes I just stop talking. It's just because I get really focused on the thing that I'm drawing. I forget that I was talking. But yeah, so I think that I am done with the flat shading. I'm just gonna pull it down a little bit, like to about 35%. Yeah, 40%. And here's a neat trick. So when you have your multiply layer with the, with the shading, you can just pixel lock that layer of shading and choose a much darker color, or even a different shade of that color, and take a airbrush, like a soft brush, a very soft big brush, and just use it to color in some areas of that layer with a darker shade in the areas where you want a darker shade, and then change the color. And for example here I want it to be a bit less pronounced here on the tail as well, and on the tail maybe I also want it to be on the blue sort of shade, right? So here I'm just drawing it with blue. And so all of a sudden you have the same shading layer, but you can just apply it to your different needs throughout the same illustration. Like here around the belly, I want it to be much darker because I want to be very obvious that she's a thick girl, and so I'm using a much darker shade of color. There you go. Instead here, a bit less. Right. So I believe this is us. This is it. Hey, I really like this girl. I'm just gonna do like a tiny little thing to finish. Blending mods are so much fun. There's so much they can do. that waits to be explored. That is completely true and accurate. And look, she's lighting up. Thank you. I'm glad that you guys like her. I really like her. I think she's my favorite so far. And then I'm just gonna use the purple to do a little bit of a contrasting on the other side. I just love doing contrasting gradients. And you just have to choose, you know, colors that are complementary to one another. So in this case, this orange and this purple, they're probably not like 100% complementary. To this orange, the complementary is probably blue. Yeah, it's this blue here, but I still like the orange better, so whatever. Thank you. Good night, Deborah. It was nice seeing you here. Have a good night, and you know, I hope you wake up rested tomorrow for your internship. And then just lower the opacity a little bit. You see like how she's just lighting up. 55%, looks good. Right, so here's my leg mermaid. So I am really glad that you guys were able to join for this session. And I am now gonna go to bed because it's 11:30. So thanks so much for joining and for sticking up with me. Thanks so much, Rob, for bringing in so many people. I'm sure it was you. And yeah, have a good night, guys, or a good rest of the day. Thank you, Elisa. Right, see you guys next Sunday. I'm gonna be drawing the third prompt in the Secret Waters prompt list, and it's gonna be the Ocean Guardian, the Ocean Mermaid. So yeah, thanks again, guys, and I'll see you later. Bye.